Let's go.
Hi, Kat Chancellor with Stamp Art Connection and StampArtConnection.com. I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator and furloughed federal employee. I have a bunch of Halloween cards that I've been working on. This is my project that I do every year. I think I've kind of talked about it in some of the other videos that featured how I made these cards. I mean, here are a bunch of cards I made, and instead of using the treat bags, I went ahead and used the bags as envelopes to create these. They're kind of card fronts that the nurses can give to the kids. I also made these kind of potion card fronts that can be given to the kids at the New Mexico Children's Hospital. I also made some of these out of scraps, just a bunch of scraps I had, as well as using the embossing folder. I don't know if you can see, let me take that out so you can see that's a retired embossing folder. It's the spider web one. And I just took pieces and parts and put them together, and whatever I had left over from my other projects, I just went ahead and just made some fun cards. You may remember in the DSP for the Spooky Halloween Suite, they had these punch outs. Well, I took those cauldrons that I made from the punch outs, and I kind of colored those, and I added some crystal effects. I took some paper from the scrapbook DSP, as well as these little books that are also from that product, and just kind of made these cards to show you what I did with the remaining cauldrons that I put together. For those cauldrons, I cut out and I added not only the crystal effects, but I also added some glow-in-the-dark paint dots there, just to kind of add, again, just an extra layer of fun. For those cauldrons that I just punched out of the DSP, I just went ahead and added some crystal effects and just added some other pieces. I just wanted to kind of show you that I'm kind of wrapping up my makes that I will be taking over to the children's hospital and give them, and it's about this many. It's a box of, I don't know how many are here, but because they're single, they're actually more. It's actually more here than it kind of looks like. So I wanted to share that, and with that I wanted to say that I'm still looking for the remaining projects that I want to add. And what I came up with is I had these Suitcase Treat Boxes that came from one of the sets, and I'll make sure I have that name there. And it has this nice wax on the inside because it is food safe, and on the outside you can fold this up into a suitcase. Well, I wanted to figure out kind of a neat way I could turn these into some Halloween type treat boxes, and what I came up with using the Happy Halloween Fright Night set and Elements of Style set, as well as a retired masking sheet, I came up with these, and these are just some boxes. And I also had another embossing sheet here. This is from the Stampers Anonymous, and I kind of used that. I'm going to go through these. I thought these would make some really cool treat boxes for giving away, for adding to my stash that I'm giving to the kids at the New Mexico Children's Hospital. Now the way they work is, and I'm going to take each one, I'm going to kind of talk through it, and then I'm going to demonstrate how I did this. This is the tag that I'm using from the Fright Night stamp set, and I've just stamped these two because I just think it's a really cool tag. I found this ribbon is actually this piece of ribbon here that I found while I was rummaging about Michael's, and I really kind of liked that. And what I did is I just kind of cut it and made some strips because I thought that kind of looked nice. You open this up, and this suitcase handle actually kind of bends like that, and then you open it up, and on the inside you can put a treat. And it is pretty self-contained, and it's decorated. And then you just go ahead and slip these two sides into this edge right here. Take your handle, right? Slip your handle in there, and there it is. It's a very self-contained treat box, but it's also a cute little box that you can use for anything. Now, I did use, I don't know if you can you see that kind of shimmer? I did use a shimmer spray because I just kind of wanted to give it just a little more glimmer. And then after I attached the ribbon to the tag, I made this into a tag. I'm just simply going to, tie it loosely here on the top, and that way when I give these to the nurses, they can take it apart, deconstruct them, and put whatever they want in them. Here's another example. I just was playing around with the different colors that I could use. This one, I used this stencil here, and I just created it, and I used some of the oxide ink, and then I just kind of, added some extra ink around the edges just to kind of age it a little bit. I thought it looked kind of cool. Then I just found some fun ribbon. So that one I made with this. I used some of the oxide inks with this. So I wanted, for this project, I wanted just to stick with Stampin' Up! Products so it could be something that you can do at home. But this one here is, I just took the box and I took some of my paper pumpkin stamping spots. This one's in copper clay. I kind of just smeared it, and then I used this Elements of Style stamp set to kind of stamp over it, and it has some really neat stamps. I just added some words, but then I also added these kind of blobs right there, and I did this in, let's see, this is copper clay, and I did those blobs in Cajun Clays, and it kind of created that. And then this I stamped with Smoky Slate, and then I stamped this with Cajun Clays right there. And again, I just kind of used this neat kind of tattered ribbon there. So that is that project. And then the one I want to demonstrate as well is this one. Now this one I really liked because I used some of the Distress Grit Paste, and this is in Glow, so this glows in the dark. And I used this favorite stencil that I have right here, and again, and I'm going to open this up, I used just some black and some smoky slate, and I'm just going to take this off, and this was just some of that, they call it seam binding type ribbon, very soft. And I take that up, and then you open it up, and you can kind of see that's where you can put your treat. And then I used this stencil, and I didn't use it all over, but I used it enough places where it just kind of, see, I just kind of used it enough places that it kind of gave the nice texture, and then I closed it up. Now, the way I applied the color to this project is that, again, I use my stamping spot, and it's really handy to use. It's real easy to use. It's a little messy, but you want to just kind of apply it. It doesn't have to be perfect. That's what's kind of neat about these kind of grungy projects like this. And you can see I added some of the shimmer spray as well, sheer shimmer sparkle, and that's what I used. And then again, I just have my tag, and I just wanted to to slip that in there. So I just wanted to show you some options of how you could do this project with whatever products you may have in your craft room. I want to focus on Stampin' Up because I know that's what you have. Now, it doesn't have to be this stencil. It could be any number of patterns. And if you recall, I have my little stencil book, and I just kind of wanted to revisit. I mean, there are a lot of different patterns that you can use if you have collected and have your stencils kind of at hand. I also have some of the, here's linked together, just a bunch of different kind of very graphic patterns that can be used. I also have a couple of these basic patterns back here. These are all retired, but again, if there are things that you have in your craft room, then they're definitely what you can use. Plenty of patterns here, lots of interesting patterns that should inspire you for your project that you can use. So I just want to give you some examples from my little stencil book. If you like my little book, there is a video that I made to show you how I put this together as a little catch-all for organizing all my stencils, and I will provide a link. So what you will need for this project is you're going to need some paper towels. We're going to do some embossing with some Distress Glitter Paste in Glow, and we're going to do some inking, so you're going to need some Memento black ink. Now, if you spray this, you're going to want to use a ink that will not run, because this will cause anything that you spray to run a little bit, and you can kind of see how some of my ink did blur. Now, you could leave it like that if you just do it lightly, because that just may be the effect that you want to have, and that's fine. But I just kind of wanted to mention that. Now, the first thing we're going to do is I'm going to bring in these blanks that I have for Suitcase Treat Box. And I just want to show you that when you fold this, before you do anything, now this is the waxy side, so this is the side that goes inside. So you want to make sure you have all these tabs kind of folded in, and these will pop out as well as this one. And this one goes here. And this is actually, when you bring these two together like this, and you slip this little notched piece into that notched hole, this is the locking mechanism that will lock the bottom of your suitcase together. And then you will fold these pieces in, and we're going to bend this back and then bend this forward, and that is going to be our handle, but we're going to glue this here, and I have a little alligator clip here that I'm going to use because that's what's going to kind of hold that in place. Now that you kind of bend these pieces, flip it around, and we're going to kind of look at what is going to be visible. So everything on this will be visible. So I'm just going to very lightly mark this. This will be visible, 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 and this will be visible. These are the surfaces that we want to make sure that we apply color and pattern to, because these other pieces, like this one here, it's going to be folded back, that's going to be folded back, and then this is also going to be folded back. And I kind of had to figure that out when I was putting these together, because you don't really know until you do something. So I have 6 of these, and I do have colors from my paper pumpkin. I have copper clay, I have pecan pie, I could use Calypso Coral, and I could use some Old Olive, and I could also use some Pebbled Path, and I think I like Pretty Peacock. Okay, I'm just going to add a piece of paper towel. It's going to apply color. Okay, I'm going to start with copper clay, and the first thing I want to do is I want to get some color on this side. That's the inside. And then I will go ahead and apply, and this is all I'm going to do. I'm just going to apply color like this. And that should hit all of the, right? That hits all of our corners and sides that we want to hit. So I'm going to put that one aside. Okay, now that I have my colors, I'm going to pick the ones I'm going to stamp and the ones I want to emboss. So I think I like to emboss the darker colors. Maybe I'll just do it like that, okay? So I'm going to save the embossed ones for last. And what we're going to do now this is the top of your box. So you want to make sure that whatever you stamp, you're going to kind of stamp in that direction. And I'm going to use my elements of text, and I like this stamp right here. And I like actually I have this stamp, I have that stamp right there. So my elements of text, I'm going to Stays On ink, and I do have my Stays On cleaner right here. Now this is this way, so I don't want to stamp that upside down. Now I'm going to take Cajun Clays, and we're going to add kind of these blots to it. need to add a little bit more. Add a little bit more ink right there. Okay, so I just kind of forgot to color that. So I'm going to equal it out by adding copper clay on this side. Okay, now I'm going to bend this back and bend that forward. And I'm going to grab my glue I'm going to glue that right there, and then I'm just going to set this aside and let that dry. Now I'm going to flip this over, because now we're going to bring in our other pieces, and I'm going to bring in my stencil, my distress paste, and I'm going to use the small, and I'm just going to do portions. And that's really all you have to do. And we'll do that, we'll tie that one back later. And there's that one. Okay, so my boxes have dried. I just kind of wanted to show you here the colors that we used. They're just the little stamping spots that I have from Paper Pumpkin. You know, these really came out nice. Last night I did put this under light, and they do glow in the dark, which is really kind of cool. Now I'm going to put them together, so let's assemble them. You want to fold all your pieces in, and the glue did take, so I took off my little clamps, and you're going to fold it so that these two come together, and this piece here is going to be the locking mechanism. Because once you slip it into that notch right there, it's going to lock this box like that. Okay, and then you just simply fold those in, and then these tuck nicely into these slots here. And then there's your little handle, and you just slip that handle right there. So there's this box. Okay, so I have finished making all my little boxes, but what I want to do with these edges is I can take my spots and I can just kind of clean some of my edges if I want with my spot. I can also take some black soot, and you can use your Memento ink as well. That just kind of grunges that up a little bit. You can kind of do it with this one as well if you want to kind of grunge that up. Now I want to take some of this spritz, shimmer spritz, and that's why I still have my paper towel out, because I'm just gonna add some. It kind of gives it a nice little shimmer. Okay, so that's my shimmer spritz. So we can move this out of the way, and I'm going to bring in my Stamparatus, and these have my tags on them. And I'm just using one plate, and since these are rubber, I'm just using my plate, and I have my magnet here. I do have some cardstock, pretty much match the size of that I'm going to use. I could take the color see, isn't that kind of neat? And then I'm going to take this one and let's wipe that off. Just kind of like that look. So my next color is going to be Old Olive. And I have Calypso Coral. And I should have, I think this is Pecan Pie. And Copper Clay. Pebbled Path. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Now we're going to take this off. I'm going to turn this around. We're going to put this here and line this up. Okay, so there are my tags. I'm going to cut these out. So I can do my tags easily this way. There is a die that I could use to cut these out, but I kind of just want to do kind of a shortcut. Okay, so I have my tags and I can go ahead and begin to match them up with my box. Okay, so there are my tags. I can go ahead and begin to find some ribbon. Look at that, isn't that pretty? Okay, so using Pretty Peacock, Blackberry Bliss, Calypso Coral, Pecan Pie, Copper Clay, Old Olive, and Pebbled Path, I've taken these wonderful Suitcase Treat Boxes and I've turned them into some really fun. These could be treat boxes or gift boxes for Halloween. I use coordinating colors. These are all Stampin' Up colors using the ink spots that I have from my old paper pumpkin kits. They're also available in the catalog. And I just created a nice tag. I used some of the grit paste in glow and a stencil to create a wonderful texture that also glows in the dark, so that's kind of fun. Here I use this stamp set here, Elements of Text, just to kind of offer some added texture and just some nice grunge. And I did it also with this one and this one. Finally, this one using my Blackberry Bliss, and again using my stencil and that nice glow in the dark paste. I did a technique for making my tags where I put the ink on the stamp. I used a little spritzer just to kind of give it, again, just some nice extra texture, and stamped it with the Fright Night stamp set. I hope this project has inspired you to go look into your craft room for some extra pieces and parts that you may have from another suite and turn it into something for Halloween. These will all be donated as part of the Make a Card, Give a Smile program I have with the University of New Mexico Children's Hospital, where I donate all my crafts and cards to the children there. If you haven't already, please hit like. All products are available in my online store. There will be a link. Go to my blog for project details for all the colors that have been used. If you're looking for a demo, please consider joining my team. You can join as a hobbyist and enjoy a 20% discount. If you are a demo and you like my content, please support my channel by hitting like, share, and leave a comment. This is Kat Chancellor with Stamp Art Connection and StampArtConnection.com. Happy stamping.